So the King and Queen of the Ring pay-per-view premium live event is this weekend, as well as AEW Double or Nothing, because wrestling just has way too much content right now. We are going to focus on the tournament that is going down in Saudi Arabia, even though SmackDown hasn't aired yet, but that just means we're going to have to be even more clever with our brains, and we're going to predict the thing. You know what you're going to do? You're going to predict it in those comments down there. You're also going to subscribe. Don't have to, but we have to yell these things. Let's go. So we're just going to start with the men's King of the Ring, because again, I've got the bracket up here, and right now we know that Gunther is in the final. I think this is perfectly fine. I think this is perfectly good. I mean, one of my predictions at the start of this thing was Gunther should win it, because him only having one loss over the last, 700 days or whatever it is, has just turned him into an absolute beast. And also, it brings us around to this conversation. On Friday night on SmackDown, we had Randy Orton versus Tama Tonga in the SmackDown final. Now listen, I think what we're doing with Tama Tonga now is pretty damn good, but Gunther versus Tama Tonga on paper doesn't make any sense. You don't do heel versus heel, especially on a pay-per-view premium live event. But also, Randy Orton versus Gunther is just the kind of final that does two things, and two important things. One, it's going to make me go, well, who the flub is winning that? Because Randy Orton hasn't lost since he came back at the Survivor Series, at least not directly. But two, it achieves what I think WWE has been aiming for since the start of this thing. We have taken the King of the Ring, and we have made it a super mega tournament, and I would argue maybe more integral than it ever has been to the future of the product. Because I also think that whoever does win the thing, be it Gunther or Randy Orton or anybody else, they are going to be able to challenge for a championship of their choice. We continue to hint at this, and it's why I'm going to pull something out of my tuchus here. I think that Randy Orton should win, and the reason for this is because we are in May 2020, and SummerSlam is June, July, 3 months away, and if you allow Randy Orton to win and then say, oh, hi, I want to go after the World Championship or the WWE title, we can get right into the Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton program, and that is a feud I have wanted for ages. And if we do give it time, my word, it's going to be brilliant, because of course you can go back to the legacy days, you can go back to all of the stories that they've told about each other, you can tell the story how they have been kind of best buds and how Randy Orton was essentially a mentor to Cody Rhodes. And if you can culminate that at SummerSlam, it takes away all of these criticisms that people have been saying where they're like, oh man, Cody Rhodes doesn't have a proper feud since he won at WrestleMania. And I guess that's kind of true, because I really enjoyed the AJ Styles match. I thought it was great. I'm super intrigued about the Logan Paul match, which we'll talk about in 1 second, but these feel very much like one and dones and not something we can sink our teeth into. Whereas if Randy Orton does win the King of the Ring, it's a great justification. It's not a wrestler going up to another wrestler and going geese title shot, which we love to do in 2024 and in all the other years in modern day wrestling, but it just gets me super excited. And everyone keeps saying that we want to turn SummerSlam into WrestleMania Part 2. We're already headed in that direction, given I think they've already sold 50,000 tickets, which is pretty damn amazing. Even if it's 40,000, it was within that bracket. You just have to come up with a way for Gunther to lose. But ultimately, I've said this throughout the tournament, I understand that it's Gunther, and I love Gunther, and Gunther is an absolute beast. You have to be able to create an environment, especially in a tournament-style bracket, where somebody can lose and it doesn't matter. For example, Gunther beats Jey Uso. I don't now think, oh man, Jey Uso is crap. Jey Uso beats Ilya Dragunov. I don't now think, oh, Ilya Dragunov is crap. It all depends on the follow-up. And I actually think one of the criticisms you can throw at all modern wrestling is that people are like, well, he can't lose or she can't lose. They'll be totally buried. It's not true. It's about how they lose. It's about the follow-up. It's about the story. It's about the narrative. Like when I watch Premier League soccer over here in the UK, and I have Man City versus Burnley, which this year was the very top team versus one of the bottom teams. I guess we'll go with Sheffield United, who were the bottom team. I assume that Man City are going to win, but I always want to have that seed of doubt that maybe Sheffield United are going to pull off an upset. Now, if we go through the whole thing, I don't think there's anyone that stretches to that sort of length, and there has been some shenanigans as well. That's the kind of feeling that I would prefer to have, especially, once again, use the terms, use the words, when you are in a tournament setting. It's really, really cool, and that's why I love the Continental Classic so much in AEW, because they said no outside interference, and we haven't done that here. So just let Gunther and Randy Orton have a really good match and come up with a finish where you go, well, of course he would lose to that. Maybe it's a super mega RKO, and everybody can walk away the better. And listen, Gunther versus Cody Rhodes, I think is going to be awesome too, but I just think you can hold that one off, especially because I actually would have put Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania, but it just feels like there's too much traffic in the way, especially at WrestleMania 41, we are going to do Cody versus The Rock, which does seem to be the way. So I absolutely put Randy Orton through on Friday, and I'd absolutely do Gunther versus Randy Orton at the pay-per-view premium live event, the Crown Jewel, not the Crown Jewel, whatever the hell we're calling it, King and Queen of the Ring. I just think it will have a certain gravitas to it, and it will get me excited about watching WWE going forward, and that should always be the point. I'm trying to think if there's anyone that could sort of screw over Gunther if you wanted to do that, and maybe there is someone I'm not thinking. Maybe a Sheamus could be there, but that's bullcrap. Don't do that. Don't try and outbook yourself by going, well, who can interfere? Figure out, again, what can we do as a finish that everybody will buy and everybody will be totally fine with. And again, it's Randy Orton, one of the best wrestlers of all time, right? A proper Hall of Famer, a proper legend. He should be allowed to beat Gunther, and you can then go, but, he's the old guard and he should be putting over the young guard. But he will do that. He will do that when he's not going to beat Cody Rhodes, right? That's not going to happen. And I've just got to the point now where I've said it before. I'm going to be dead, right? We don't know when I'm going to be dead. So screw patience sometimes. Just get it down. So I'm going to say that Randy Orton does win the King of the Ring. And I've just realized the problem with that is it goes the other way, isn't it? The Bloodline are going to screw over Randy Orton. That's what's going to happen. So Gunther is going to win because damn it. But still, I'm going with Randy Orton because that's what I want. But, Saudi Arabia too. My word. The Bloodline loves screwing people over in Saudi Arabia. It's literally happened in every single one of Roman Reigns' matches. But I've said it now, Randy Orton. And we'll jump into the Queen of the Ring as well, because again, why not do this back to back? And we know that Lyra Valkyria has made it all the way to the finals, and that's pretty damn awesome. One, she beat Io Sky, who was one of my predictions for the thing. But also, it just goes to show, if you weren't aware of her in NXT, now you can get super duper excited if you do want to invest, because even if she does lose, she made it to the final of the Queen of the Ring, which once again feels more important. And she is going to be taking on either Nia Jax or Bianca Belair. Now, once again, if we go into the whole heel and faces thing, well, this can kind of go two ways, because if Bianca Belair gets through to the final and she wins, you can then go straight into the Bayley program, which we have been teasing, and maybe that's a way to do it without anyone going super heel, because do not forget, Bianca Belair has just caused there. Damage Control did make her life a living hell for a long time, and one of the main reasons for that is Bayley. So even though she's turned a new leaf now, why the hell should she care? At the same time, if you put Nia Jax into that spot and she beats Lyra Valkyria, Bayley versus Nia Jax is a very nice program you could probably do at SummerSlam, and then Bayley obviously can win, but she slayed the giant, and I think Nia Jax is doing pretty good work at the moment as a bad guy. So you have these two options that you potentially can choose, but I actually find this one a little bit harder to predict, because Bianca Belair doesn't lose that much, whereas Nia Jax actually has lost quite a lot this year, but she has that, I guess, monster... what's the word I'm looking for? Monster feel to her, and WWE will always go back to somebody like that because they like to have their monsters. I have no problem with this. And also, let's not forget that Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill are the women's tag team champions right now. So if Bianca Belair does go through, you are essentially cutting your nose off to spite your face, because they're not going to be able to defend them at SummerSlam, because I would presume that she would go after a world title. So when I look at it that way, I just think it's too soon. It's Nia Jax, right? She's always screwing people over. And also, I think that's a cool match to do, Lyra Valkyria versus Nia Jax. So I'm going to go with Lyra versus Nia, and I also think I'm going to have Nia Jax win it, because yes, I do think we'll do Nia Jax versus Bayley at a SummerSlam, or maybe even a pay-per-view premium live event before then. But at the same time, the only thing is, right, I would have no problem with Lyra Valkyria beating Nia Jax, but I just feel like Nia Jax has lost a lot recently, especially in the build-up to WrestleMania, where she was kind of deliberately the third wheel. But I kind of think that is something they would do, and Nia Jax can cheat, and no one's going to care, because again, Nia Jax cheats. So I'm going to say that Nia Jax wins, and Lyra Valkyria's big win was over Io Sky, which we did do on Raw, which was massive. There's no two ways about it. And maybe Jade Cargill could get involved at the same time, though I don't know. Again, I think you need to defend the women's tag team belts. All the pay-per-views, premium live events coming up. Although we need to do something with Tiffany Stratton as well, because Bianca Belair beat her. Maybe she gets involved in that match. That's how Nia Jax goes through. That works. I'm going to say Tiffany Stratton gets involved in the semi-final, and then in the final, Lyra versus Nia. I think Nia's going to win, but I'm way less confident about this. This is me basically booking by the seat of my pants without any real logic, whereas I think the men's one, I put a bit more thinking into it. Ultimately, I didn't, because I'm really stupid, but I've said it now. Men's one is Randy Orton. Women's one is Nia Jax. Then there's the heel and a face. That's a good way to do things. Even I think I'm going to be wrong here. What an idiot. Which brings us to the Women's World Championship, or the Raw Women's title, whatever we want to call it. Becky Lynch versus Liv Morgan. I think we should do a title change here, and I think Liv Morgan should win the damn thing. Because it all goes back to that Battle Royal that happened a month or so ago, when everybody was so mad, well, some people were, because they're crazy, that Becky Lynch became the champion. But ultimately, if Rhea Ripley goes down with an injury, and she's just had this awesome match with Becky at WrestleMania, and at one point Becky was meant to win that, until everyone went, we can't have Rhea lose right now, which was the right thing. Ripley should have held on to that belt for as long as possible. Then why wouldn't you just retroactively go, well, let's just go with the original plan? And the thing is, Liv Morgan, sure, could have won that Battle Royal, but I tell you what's a much better way to do it, is that Becky Lynch wins it, who is a bona fide star. She then goes on to the first premium live event. She takes on Liv Morgan, and Liv Morgan wins. And listen, Liv Morgan has gone totally off the rails. She's totally crazy. If you want to go shenanigans central here, you probably could. She could use a weapon. She could cheat. She could smash her head into the ring post. I don't know. Maybe she beats her with the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, the surprise roll-up, and puts her feet on the rope. WWE loves doing that ship. I just think there is multiple options here. But as long as Liv Morgan walks away, even though we could point the finger at her and go, you little conniving so-and-so, she can be like, I don't care, man. Because listen, I'm on my revenge tour. Rhea Ripley screwed me over. As far as I'm concerned, Becky Lynch screwed me over. And now I'm the champion. And then hopefully, if we can book her right and not like we did last time, which everyone has come out and said was terrible, you know, we can then put her in that upper echelon. So when Rhea Ripley does return, if Liv Morgan is still holding that title, you could do the rematch between Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley, and the story is right there. Liv, you injured me. Oh yeah, Rhea, well, you injured me. We both took away parts of each other's career. Now let's settle in the ring. If you tell that right, I would even take it at WrestleMania. Or if you want to make Survivor Series a big deal, which they do, and there's the do for the comments, and Rhea is ready to go by then, that is cool as well. But we have these tent poles where we can put these matches in, and I don't think it's the worst thing in the world, Liv Morgan only holding the title for 6 months or so. After the Roman Reigns thing, we can have more fun with it. It goes back to what I just said. Just ensure there's a fallout to all of these things, and there's an aftermath. And if we're going with Liv Morgan, doesn't have to be the champion for 2,000 days. Like, if that's the only way you can get somebody over, you're not being creative enough. And I honestly do think we got to the point now where Becky Lynch can be run over by a truck, and she's still going to be Becky Lynch. She is the upper echelon of women's wrestling in WWE. And I think as I'm talking to you, her contract's about to expire. I'm pretty sure she's going to get a mega deal, so everything is going to be okay. But I'm quite excited about this match. I do think Liv Morgan should come out on top, mostly because I think it opens up better matches going forward, just because we've seen Becky Lynch take on everybody, and then maybe that's a different character Becky Lynch can play, although actually what I think will happen, I do believe she was meant to take some time off after WrestleMania, much earned given she wrestled that match with a strep throat, or whatever you call it, and obviously Seth Rollins is out injured at the moment, so that would be nice for them and their family. So I would presume that Becky Lynch loses, Liv Morgan wins, and then Becky goes away for a while, but she deserves that. She has earned her holiday, so once again, I think this one is nice and simple. Let them have a good match. You want to have some dumb stuff at the end, I'm not massively going to mind, because I think ultimately, as long as Liv Morgan is the champion, we've done everything right. We, however, should not change the championship when it comes to the Intercontinental title, where it is Sami Zayn versus Chad Gable versus Bronson Reed. I love Bronson Reed. I think he's awesome, but I think here he is playing a little bit of a catalyst. Now, I'm sure they're going to get a lot of time because there are only 5 matches on this show, and I think all of them will benefit because of that, because if they have the match of the night, which they're very capable of, everyone's going to remember that. But it feels to me like the personal issue between Sami Zayn and Chad Gable, which we have been explaining on Raw, it's been like, oh man, Bronson only wants it because he wants to make money and he wants to be the champion. It's a professional thing. When you tie into the more personal side, again, of Chad and Sami, that's another thing you can roll all the way into the Survivor Series, the SummerSlam, that's what Bret Hart used to say, the SummerSlam. And given that this basically kicked off at WrestleMania, you then have a 4 or 5 month program that can culminate in the summer. And once again, it's telling people, oh, SummerSlam should be taken as one of the big 4 and maybe as a WrestleMania 2. Please buy your tickets. Please spend loads of money. And if you are a city, please pay us money so we can take the event there and earn even more cash. But it's just not the right time to take it off Sami Zayn. Mostly because I think actually, if you wanted to do it at SummerSlam, you could. This goes into what I just said. I understand that people are going to be like, oh my gosh, but Gunther held this for 72 years, but not everybody needs to do that. And Sami Zayn is so lovable, and he's such an underdog, and he's able to generate so much sympathy, that if Chad Gable probably does cheat, I like the idea of Otis actually being with him, and him being the guy to help him get the championship, but you can do whatever you want with that. But I think Sami Zayn back on the chase, and he can win it back at Survivor Series, or a Royal Rumble, or WrestleMania, or whatever, actually ties into a story. And it's the old adage when it comes to somebody becoming a heel. The one I always go back to is AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura from WrestleMania. Nakamura turned heel and he still wasn't able to win the championship. He still wasn't able to beat AJ Styles. So, well, what a waste of time. You completely changed your morals and you completely changed your direction of travel, but you still suck. So you look doubly stupid. So Chad Gable has gone heel. He's yelling at Maxine Dupree. He's yelling at Tozawa. He's obviously yelling at Otis. He doesn't like Sami Zayn at all. And he has to have one moment where that is completely justified, especially because Sami Zayn has already beaten him. It's quite like this feud. They were buddies at first, but now they're enemies, so we can switch it on a dime. So I would have Sami Zayn pin Bronson Reed here. Again, just come up with an amazing finish, probably the WWE finish, where Bronson Reed will get hit with everybody's finisher, and then Sami will push Chad Gable out the ring. So Chad can come out and whine some more. That's good too. Let's give him real motivation, but we can be like, yeah, but you're just so annoying about it. I don't like you, a la Drew McIntyre. And that also keeps Chad Gable in the mix. So again, when we get to the next big pay-per-view, big show, whatever you want to do, you can do Sami Zayn versus Chad Gable one-on-one and probably put Chad Gable over there. Let's make sure we have plans for Bronson Reed too, because he has kind of been treading water recently, which is not fair because he's an awesome talent. He really is. And he needs to get stuck into something too. But Sami Zayn should retain here, but only for a couple of months because Chad Gable is going to win at SummerSlam. That is a very convoluted answer, but I've said it and I stuck with it. I feel pretty good about it. Which brings us to our main event. Cody Rhodes versus Logan Paul for the undisputed WWE title. I can only imagine that something's going to happen here, and I have no idea what it is. It's why when originally I thought it was going to be US title and WWE title on the line, it made more sense to me. I was like, okay, we're going all in with Cody Rhodes. He is going to become a super duper mega champion, and maybe that means he can lose at some point and lose that championship, and I don't know, maybe that can tie into something else. I mean, it's not the best idea in the world, but I can see a path. But here, I can only see one of two things. Cody Rhodes is just going to beat Logan Paul, maybe because the people in Saudi Arabia asked for this match, which they have done before. I believe they asked for Yokozuna one year. They're like, well, it's going to be a bit of a problem. Or two, we're not going to get a proper finish, and there is going to be shenanigans. And listen, I'm a positive Pete guy. If you watch any of my stuff, sometimes I'm overly positive. But that one, I'm just going to say it, will piss me off because we've seen a Seth Rollins, a Roman Reigns, whoever else beat Logan Paul, and right now we are trying to build Cody. Cody himself has it instead. He is trying to live up to what Roman Reigns had done, and he's trying to get even bigger than that. He wants to be one of the best world championship runs ever, and that doesn't always necessarily mean you beat everybody. But because Logan Paul has that asterisk in the sense he has come from the outside world, which is what this story is all about, I don't think you can have a finish where Cody doesn't beat him. I mean, maybe Logan Paul hits him with the brass knucks and the referee sees it and we get a DQ, but that will suck, especially because I presume this will be the main event. I mean, I suppose you could put one of the Queen or King of the Ring finals on there instead, but it's why I do like this match, because I don't know what they're going to do. I'll be super duper surprised if Cody Rhodes just hits like 9 crossroads in a row and then beats him 1, 2, 3. And also, if he does do that, he should come out of SmackDown and says, well, now I do want to take you on for your United States Championship. Maybe that is what we're going to do. But Logan's whole point was, no, you just made that up, bro. We were always talking about your championship. You've done nothing to deserve a shot at mine. Well, if you beat the champ, you definitely deserve a shot at the champ. So in no way am I going to bet on Logan Paul winning this, because if you wanted to take the belt off Cody now and you gave it to Randy Orton or a Gunther or somebody else, no problem. Logan Paul is not in that guise at the moment, although I did a video the other day where I do think he should be WWE champion one day, so make sure you click that and you can get my crazy thoughts and get mad at me. But this is not the time. No way. It would be really bad booking, and it would be really stupid, especially because people still love Cody Rhodes, and doing that you would run the risk of maybe turning them. But yeah, at the same time, unless there is going to be some kind of a twist here, why are you doing this match now on such little build? Logan Paul does have this aura around him, and you could have built him up to a proper level where some people thought, oh my gosh, he is going to become the WWE champion. And I don't think that's going to happen here. So it could be something that I get annoyed about post-wrestling, even though it's not a problem at all. But Cody shall win. The issue is I don't know how. So maybe I'm overthinking this. I'm just going to say he hits 4 crossroads and he gets the 1, 2, 3, but look at my face. I am not confident at all, and I think this is one of the most random matches that we have done in years, because there has to be an end game like it is the Avengers. I don't know what the flub that is. It's also going to be a very easy card to watch because, again, we've only got 5 matches, which is the Triple H way, and I think it should be good. Again, I'm hoping the main point of it is to take, let's just go with my winners, Randy Orton and Nia Jax, and make sure they do get dialed into World Championship programs, because then when we get to 2025, we have reestablished that's what you can get if you win the King or Queen of the Ring, and then more people can declare and more people can say, oh my gosh, I need that in my life, because it's essentially a middle of the year Royal Rumble, and it can set up SummerSlam things too. I've always said that we should have something like that. The Royal Rumble can set up WrestleMania things, and now let's say the King or Queen of the Ring can set up SummerSlam things. The format works. People like it. You just have to sell it to them. That's why I think this will be the major deal when it comes to this. Although also, we may get a title change when it comes to the Women's World Championship. And that's pretty good too. Everybody likes a title change. Now, of course, as already mentioned, make sure you leave me a comment below and let me know what your King and Queen of the Ring predictions are. If someone gets them all right, maybe we can sit down and have a chat. Otherwise, like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Click the bell ding ding so you know when videos are going live. Notification crew, and click the video on the screen. It will be me talking about Logan Paul becoming the WWE champion. Otherwise, it is grillermind.com/Simon. Please use code Simon to get 10% off, and sometimes they do crazy % off, so always check the website. Patreon.com/Simon316, Simon316 on Instagram and Twitter, Simon J. Miller on TikTok, Simon Miller on Cameo. Get your personalized video messages. I love doing them. Otherwise, there's merchandise at Pro Wrestling Tees and Samson Athletics. You can wear one of my goofy catchphrases. Always makes me feel good. Otherwise, take care, my friends. Enjoy all the wrestling this weekend. Too much damn wrestling, and I'll see you soon.